All right, welcome back
Who is
once
this man?
again.
Sorry.
We are the Revisionist Almanac. It's Andrew, it's Amanda, it's Heather. This is going to be a lot of chaos for this little mini special episode we got for you. We're talking about Ryan Gosling. We're talking about his new film, Project Hail Mary, which releases on March 20th. And this is really kind of the talk of the town right now. Everyone's really excited for this movie. It seems like it's going to be a critical and a commercial success, which is something that is kind of a rarity in this pocket of March where people are really excited for a movie this early. And there's already awards buzz generating for Project Hail Mary, which is kind of a cool thing. We'll see if that holds up 9 months from now. But in terms of Project Hail Mary, are either of you excited for this film to release in general? Heather, thoughts on Project Hail Mary from what you've seen, what you've heard?
Yeah, I have seen a trailer because I watch trailers. It looked good. It's from the people who did The Martian, so I'm in because I loved The Martian. I have great intentions of trying to read the book in the 2 weeks from when we record this to when it comes out here. It may happen, it may not. We will see. And yeah, I'm excited to see Sandra Hüller in an English-speaking role. And yeah, the first reviews are really positive, and yeah, I'm excited. I'm definitely going to see this. I've had this on my watch list since it was announced. Absolutely, yep.
Amanda,
I'm there.
Are you equally as excited and optimistic about Project Hail Mary as Heather?
I think I'm as optimistic. I probably wouldn't say as excited just because in general, this like sci-fi-ish aspect of it is not my favorite, or just space or whatever it is. It's not my type of movie that I go to see. But my sister, my resident like voice of the people, she has read the book and she's very excited about it because she loved the book. So I'll probably go see it just in support, but I bet it'll be great.
Okay, I am definitely the high person on this movie. Number one, because I love Ryan Gosling, which is well-established fact at this point. Number two, I'm a fan of Lord and Miller, the directors who are taking this on. They've done Jump Street, and they've had a hand in a lot of other projects that I'm a fan of. I am in the process of reading the book at present. We're like recording this about 2 weeks from when the movie comes out. I've got about 180 pages-ish to go, so I should have no problem knocking that out. And I'm the type, I don't know if other people like this, I actually like waiting to read a book that's going to be made into a film, knowing the cast, because it's easier for my brain to hear those people. And that cat is very excited for this movie as well. I love being able to hear Ryan Gosling's voice in my head playing this role, and same with Sandra Hüller. I think she's going to be perfect in the character that she's playing. And there's been a lot of news over the last week or so that everything was done practically. There's not a single bit of like green screen or whatever. And so I do appreciate that this movie's going to feel like this big scale epic, and it doesn't feel like they're going to, kind of take the shortcuts of the green screening and all of that. And so, yeah, I'm generally excited. And it seems like the public is excited about this movie, and that's encouraging that maybe we're going to get another Martian, which seemed to be really big with people outside of the cinephile community. My brother, who's my kind of bellwether for knowing what the casual person's into, he loved The Martian. That was his favorite movie that year. I've heard there's some Interstellar vibes to this movie. That film obviously has a lot of fandom just globally and in all of the aspects. So Project Hail Mary, I think, is going to be a huge success. I'm excited for it. We're here to talk about Ryan Gosling, specifically in his Mount Rushmore. Where do you two stand on Ryan Gosling in general? What's your experience been like with him over the years? Amanda, I'll go to you first. Where was your entry point with Gosling? Where are you at with him now? How do you feel about him as an actor?
So this is going to sound worse than it did for Christian Bale. My introduction to Ryan Gosling was La La Land, but not when La La Land came out, because I didn't watch it when it came out. I watched it about a year ago. So I've been a disaster. So I do really enjoy him. I saw that. I saw Barbie when it came out. Wait, which one did I watch first? I might have watched Barbie first.
Wow.
I don't even know. I just remember where I was when I watched La La Land, so it was recent. So I was excited to watch more of him, maybe in a role that's unlike those two, something a little less like goofy, but I've had a great time. I also probably watched 6 to 8 for this episode.
Excellent, excellent. Heather, what about you though? We've obviously talked about Gosling a little bit when we did 2016 last year, and we covered La La Land, which was a big film. And so, thoughts in general on Gosling? Where are you at with him?
One thing, though, on your book adaptations, I wanted to say,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's interesting what you do first if you have no knowledge of either, because I obviously have these people in my mind now. But do I still read the book first, or do I say, right, I'm just going to watch the film and then read the book? It's been interesting with the whole Wuthering Heights discourse as well. Like, what are you projecting onto the
Mm-hmm.
film or whatnot? So anyway, but it is always kind of, what's better, what should you do first, and then do you want to rather imagine these people in your head first of all? So, but now
Mm-hmm.
obviously I know it's Ryan Gosling and Sandra Hüller, so it is what it is. Gosling. Okay, so I just literally pulled up his IMDb because I do not have this, memorized, unlike you and unlike me with Bale. And the very first Ryan Gosling film I saw in theaters, it was in theaters, and we just went for it right from the beginning because the very first Ryan Gosling film I saw was Blue Valentine. Yes.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's an entry.
Yeah. That's a hell of a movie to see in theaters. Yeah.
Yes. And then I definitely saw The Ides of March the following year.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
So I was clearly, following, I think, pretty much all the major ones since then. So that's why I've had to do a bit of catch up this past week on things that I, earlier ones from his filmography, pre Blue Valentine, that I, knew were major ones, but I had just never seen before. So I caught up this week on Half Nelson. I caught up on, oh no, Drive was after Blue Valentine. Okay, but I caught up on Drive. I did not watch The Notebook. Sorry. Yes, and I watched Place Beyond the Pines in theatre. So he's been somebody that since really first seeing him in Blue Valentine, whether it was specifically because of him, I don't think it was, sorry. But I think he's always somebody who's making interesting films that appeal to me and are, bleak shit that I want to see. And I think probably The Place Beyond the Pines was possibly driven by the whole Bradley Cooper of it all, I'm going to say, thinking about me in that time. But yeah, I mean, there's a few films that I haven't seen that I wouldn't see because he's got a few comedies on there. But I've seen The Big Short. That was probably more the Christian Bale of it all. But all just generally the thing that he's always been somebody who's kind of been a constant presence in my theatre going experience. I think I've seen all these films of his that I've seen, apart from the recent first time watches. I've seen them all in theatres. So clearly he's getting bums on seats, or at least mine. And it might be just to say, it might just be more the material he's making, as opposed to him as the movie star that's, attracting me to the theatre. But he's, this is a bunch of great films. And I even went to see La La Land twice.
He's like this. He's this really cool. I mean, I could go on for days and days about Gosling and how much I love him. He's this great. Like people are always like, "Oh, are there any movie stars left?" And I feel like they kind of like overlook his movie stardom. He does have true name recognition, star power, and yet he also doesn't seem like he's ever chasing award recognition or industry recognition. Like he seems very confident in who he is and what he believes in and like the projects he wants to take and the comfort he has in his versatility. And my thing with Gosling is when you look at his body of work, I think he has one of the most versatile careers of somebody we've seen over the last 20 or 30 years, which is kind of what's guided my own Mount Rushmore that I was building out for him. Is he can do so many different things and play so many different roles. And he's somehow still really underrated because there are a number of great films of his that people don't talk about or don't think about or have never seen or heard of even. And he's just like this deep well of talent for me. And so, yeah, but I must admit my first Gosling experience was The Notebook, and I was a teenager and I was like, that's not for me. It was very like teenage, pretentious, not cool. And then very quickly, I started to see he did Half Nelson a couple of years later after The Notebook. And very quickly, I was like, okay, this guy's just sort of built different. And then I started to love him, and I went back to The Notebook, and I've made peace with how stupid I was for the time, not appreciating he and Rachel McAdams in that film. So, yeah, I love everything he's ever done.
I think the difference between, I understand what you're saying about movie star. Like, I think he does have that level of fame, but the kind of sort of, I don't think it's somebody you're like, oh, I need to go and see the latest Ryan Gosling film because it's the latest Ryan Gosling film. I don't think it's like necessarily of the DiCaprio levels where Leo DiCaprio has a film, so you're going to have a certain critical mass of people that are going to go and see it anyway because it's Leonardo DiCaprio and they're going to go and see it, which I think is interesting because I don't think he does necessarily mainstream films. So, and I think the fact that, I mean, obviously he did a lot of marketing for it and everything. I think Timothée Chalamet has also shown that he can, open a film as well with the success of Marty Supreme. Yes, of course, there was all the marketing, but let's also be clear, he has a very large following in a certain demographic, and they're going to go and see Timothée Chalamet, right? I don't think Ryan Gosling, I wouldn't put him in that same bucket necessarily, but he does films that are people go and see because they're good films that they're interested in seeing. But kind of, maybe I'm just speaking from my personal thing. It's like not things that I've not willingly, that's the wrong word. I've knowingly gone to see because it's Ryan Gosling. So I think that's a slight difference, but yeah.
Yeah, he seems to care about like hitching his wagon to the right director or the right project, and then by proxy, sort of kind of like steals the show once you see it, and you're like, oh, he's kind of everything in this movie or whatever. Yeah, I definitely agree with that because he's had some financial failures, if you will, or there have been movies, or even like some of his better box office movies that haven't been his best movies, like The Fall Guy, I'm thinking of, where that movie doesn't really do anything for me, but he clearly was like he was the attraction for that, and he had fun with it. Yeah. So, okay, we're gonna do the same thing we did with the Bale Mount Rushmore, which is the three of us on our own, didn't discuss, and we each made our own top four. What we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of bounce around. Well, some of us made a top four. Some of us are just going to vibe it.
Some of us literally made the top four about 5 minutes before we recorded. In fact, no, it might have been before we switched, just literally as we were still chatting off mic.
If we need to fill more than four, I'm happy to add about 15 others. This is my expertise. What we're going to do, though, is we're going to kind of go around the room. We're going to try to come up to a consensus for. If we don't get to a consensus and we only have a few movies that make the top four, we will turn it over to the online community. We'll let everyone be interactive in this process with us. And so there might be a couple of movies vying for a spot or two, and we will let you all decide if we get to that point. So I'm going to have Heather kick us off with this one. And Heather, of all the Ryan Gosling films that you could put on a Mount Rushmore, what do you think needs to be the very first film there?
Oh, I don't know if this is the very first, but this is the one I'm going to say first.
Okay.
And to remind everybody of my criteria, it is performance, but it is also legacy, and it is also kind of like iconicness of this particular role. And that is why my number one is going to be Ken in Barbie.
Boom. Yep, which is an Oscar nomination.
I hate to do this because it was a woman-driven film, and I am so sorry, but he was the best thing about that film. And so to your point, he's often the best thing about everything he's in. His line delivery in that I'm Just Ken song, the whole dream ballet sequence, then doing the whole thing at the Oscars again. Oh my God. Like, that role is, I think, forever going to define his career. And I know with the Christian Bale one, we said we're not putting on Batman because, I mean, you wanted to, Andrew, but we convinced you otherwise. Because there are three of them. Yeah. So which one do you choose? I know you decided on one, but with this one, it is just one film. It is such an iconic role. I use that word a lot. I hate it. I'm terrible, but it is. And he's just fabulous in it. And the timing, and the fact that a lot of it was improvised, and the fact that everybody's like, killing themselves off camera because he is just so deadpan serious with his, what was it, the one where Margot Robbie, she was like, thank God they were not filming me, she says, and they were just focusing on the door, because he goes behind and says, sublime. And she was like, because she was losing it. And you just saw that whole camaraderie and what he brought to it. But he didn't take himself seriously, which is another thing about Ryan Gosling. I think he's got a lot of kind of, as I said, comedies in his filmography, things where he is just not being serious. He goes on SNL all the time. I know it's because he's promoting stuff, so everybody does, but he does a really good job when he's there. He seems to have very, very incredible comedic timing. Yes, so that's my first. That's the first one. That's the one I had written down before I quickly added the other three, just before we recorded. Yeah.
I'm in agreement totally. Barbie needs to be on the list. Again, it was an Oscar nomination. It was a film that made $1 billion at the box office. It sort of elevated him to the general public more than I think any singular film he's ever done, even La La Land, which was a huge success. And I think for a lot of people, it kind of showed me how few people knew of his comedic work prior, because people are like, oh, wow, Gosling's really funny. And I'm like, you've clearly never seen The Nice Guys, or you've never seen Crazy Stupid Love, which he's hilarious in. He's got timing. He's got physical comedy, everything about him. So this was my comedy pick on my Mount Rushmore. Amanda, I assume Barbie was also on your list.
So since I'm doing my Rushmore about range, I have a different comedy pick.
Okay.
However, I only have one of these four that I'm very set on. I don't care if any of the three get booted for Barbie, because this was my fifth. I just felt like I needed to have one like bleak one. So I threw one in just like, I guess, and I wasn't really happy with it. So Barbie is fine if in the end it needs to be there.
Okay, so we'll pencil Barbie tentatively into the list, and we'll come back to kind of what else comes up on the board, because this could be a little chaotic over the next few picks. So Barbie
it's already chaotic. I see it now.
So Barbie's temporarily on the board. Amanda, why don't you give us a pick for what you think should be on the list?
Yeah, as I said, I have one solid one, and it is one that you had just done an episode on. I just put it on my watch list, and then I saw it a couple weeks ago, and I want to watch it 1,000 more times, and that is Lars and the Real Girl. That, I'm still thinking about this performance of his, because he's so cute and sincere, and like the whole movie is so wholesome. It like made me want to like shed a little tear. It's like, so I watched Pillion in the theaters the other day, and like how that made me just want to shed several tears in the theaters. This made me want to shed tears, because I hadn't seen a role of his like this, and so it was really impressive to me. It's beautiful. I might go put it on again.
Every time I hear somebody say they've seen Lars for the first time, it makes me so happy, because it's, again, if you just read the synopsis, you're like, what is this movie? And then you watch it and you're like, This is the most wholesome, beautiful, wonderful film. And Gosling is like, again, he strips away his vanity in the movie really well. Like he's kind of happy being a dork in that film. Okay, that is not on my list personally. But I do think
What?
Wow.
I know.
I feel like you were pushing it so hard.
I know.
Yeah, same.
I know.
This is the one where I was all prepared to be like, guys, I'm being over, because I also don't have it, by the way. So I was also prepared to be like overruled. No, I just didn't watch it. So
okay.
I was the one I didn't get to. I watched others. I didn't watch that one. And I was all prepared to say, right, hands up, I reckon you're just going to make great cases for, and I didn't watch it, so I can't even comment. So, and I thought, this is one I'm going to be not overruled on, but this is the one that you two are going to be putting on, and I'm going to be like, yep, nope, sorry.
Well,
wow.
I mean, we're gonna set that over to the side. Yeah, this is gonna be crazy.
I'm devastated.
Lars, and there's one other film that were excruciating cuts that I did not have in my 4. I'm gonna go. I'll throw my one that I think should be on the list, and we'll kind of reconvene.
We're all out of sync here now.
We are. This is vastly different than what happened on the Christian Bale one that we did. I'm going to throw out the movie that I think is the one that deals with the complexity of a character the most, and that is the film that Heather mentioned seeing in the theater, which is 2010's Blue Valentine. And the reason why I love Blue Valentine is you get to see over the course of that film, it's shot basically with 2 different time periods, and so you get to see the forming of a relationship and kind of young Ryan Gosling and his charm, and then as the film progresses, you see sort of the fracturing of said relationship, and Gosling's playing an older version of the character and is going through problems and things, and you just see him really show the range of humans and relationships and the experience that we all have with the people we love. And that was the first movie that really like solidified for me that he was going to be a great all-time actor if he decided he wanted to be, because up until that point I had not seen him do something like that. And so yeah, I think Blue Valentine for me is just one of the great performances for Ryan Gosling. So I'll put Blue Valentine on the board at least, and we'll go from there. Heather, you at least gave me a thumbs up. Did you have Blue Valentine as maybe?
Yeah, and people can't see this if they're only listening, but I'm checking my other screen here because I just pulled it up because I wanted to check the Oscar stuff. And it was only Michelle Williams who got the Oscar nomination for this.
And she's fabulous.
She's fabulous, absolutely. But it's such a double header. I'm so surprised that they didn't put him in as well. And yeah, it's incredible. It is so freaking bleak. So obviously, I love it. And he's just, as you said, he's so versatile. And it's like Ryan Gosling. I think, if you only watch a certain part of his filmography, you're just going to think Ryan Gosling does Sad Man very well, which he does. Sad Man, perhaps drugs, perhaps alcohol, and then that's why the whole Ken of it all was very different. Because I have to say, like, most of the Ryan Gosling films I'd seen was Ryan Gosling, sad man with issues. And I'm not going to say he doesn't have issues as Ken, but they're a different kind. Yeah, this film is just so hard to take. I mean, I saw this in theaters. I have not seen it again. This is a one and done film, I think. I mean, how many times can you put yourself through this? But yeah, just the two of them. This is why it's just so surprising it was only her that got nominated. And I can't remember. I'd have to go and double check what everything was in that year, 2010. It was a good year. Yeah, this is just, I mean, I haven't seen something like Marriage Story, which also shows kind of the breakdown of relationship. I mean, there's just some things that I just don't need to necessarily see. Plus, also Adam Driver, not the biggest fan. But this is just the breakdown of a relationship. I think while you might not necessarily relate to what they choose to do, you can always relate to the characters and kind of, you might have no sympathy with them or whatever. But because of the way they portray it with so much feeling, you still are invested. And I think you can only do that if you have two great actors or actresses doing what they're doing on screen. So yeah, Blue Valentine is on my list. Yep.
Okay. Amanda, are you Blue Valentine or are you against this movie being on the list?
So my problem that I had is after I had all the ones that I had seen were there's all like his funny, goofy ones. I was like, well, I have to watch this long list that I discovered of bleak, sad man films that he did. So the problem that I had is that it started to cram too much and leading up to the Oscars, and so I didn't have enough time. So I started like 4 of them at once, like whatever I was able to watch, where I was able to watch, like on what platform. And that was one of them, and a couple other ones. And I didn't have time to finish some of them. So I've seen about a third of Blue Valentine, and so I got like at least the back and forth of the timeline and stuff. So I understand it. I haven't finished it. So I'll have to finish it. If nothing else, I have no problems with this pick.
Okay. For now, let's put it over there with Lars. They're both going to hang out there, and we'll see how many hangouts we have.
I really should have
Barbie's
finished
still hanging out because Amanda didn't have Barbie.
Well, but I think she was okay putting it on the list, right? You're okay chiseling Barbie on?
I'll throw out when I throw out my goofy one. We'll see how it goes.
Barbie's at least pretty confidently on, and the other two are hanging out over on the side. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to throw out another one, and let's see if we can maybe add one to the list officially.
Can we agree on one today?
So when I think of the range of talent of Ryan Gosling, I think maybe the film that captures it the most is his acting, his singing, his dancing, his La La Land of it all. I think that movie is just a magical piece, and it sort of has, like it's kind of got like his Notebooky ability to like charm and woo people with his, with everything that he is, and it's got there's the Barbie of it too, where he's doing some singing, and the dancing obviously is the hand and the angle and all that good stuff, and everything everything for me works in La La Land, and then also the end of that movie, you really get the pain and the heartache, and just again, it's a multifaceted performance, and so I think La La Land for me deserves a placement personally. Amanda's shaking her head. Yes, that's a good sign.
Yeah, that was easily my number 2.
Okay, Heather, would you agree with us that it deserves a placement?
No,
Okay.
So that's a no.
No. I think I'm in the same boat with this one as Amanda is with Barbie. It's like, not because I had something alternative to it, right? I don't have another singing and dancing and weird hand placement Ryan Gosling, but I do enjoy La La Land, and if you may remember for the 2016 episode, the rewatch of La La Land in theaters, which I had literally I think about a week before we recorded, moved him in to the 5 actors that I nominated, and moved, can't remember, Andrew Garfield, I think. Move Andrew Garfield out. I agree with everything you're saying. Personally, I have other performances that I think are stronger or appeal to me more. But again, I'm forgetting what I said. I'm actually, going back on myself, and I say the legacy and the iconicness of it, and kind of that's why you kind of have to put in La La Land. It's another Oscar nomination. It is a film that he is so well known for. I know Emma Stone is the one who won the Oscar, but he's still so associated with that film. He's talked about it many times, still continues to talk about it, and it's a great film, and he's great in it. I just happen to prefer, on performance level, other films, but I'm not going to veto La La Land, and I think it has to be there. I mean, I've written it down here saying yes, it's going to go in. Like, basically, it's like yeah, I might as well. But it's just because I've got other ones on my list, because it's good to talk about other films. So
okay,
yeah.
so
put La La Land in. It's good.
Barbie and La La are.
Oh God, we need bleak stuff here.
Yeah.
What's going on?
So far, Barbie and La La Land are hanging out in the comfort zone. Lars and Blue Valentine are over on a little wobbly ground. Amanda, why don't you give us another movie, throw out there that you think deserves some placement?
Okay, I'm not going to touch on the bleakness yet, because
Okay.
I'm going to leave that to the two of you. I'm going to go to my goofy pick, and that is The Nice Guys.
Oh, okay. Which has Heather still seen yet? Okay. Talk Nice Guys, Amanda.
It was a good one. Yeah, it's he has, most importantly, I think, a funny laugh and a funny scream or something. He's got something going on, and it's goofy. And so I find this to be funnier than his Barbie character. I don't think it's as iconic, but I think as a whole, the movie is just fun. The aesthetic is really cool too, because I'm a vibes gal. So this had all the vibes, and you get to see him like be a father, and so you get that sort of softer side of him, but he's also like running around and screaming. So well-rounded, I guess.
This may come again as another surprise to the people out there. I do not have The Nice Guys on my 4. I know.
Throw it out. Just throw in Barbie. It's fine.
Mess.
Yeah. Why did you leave me down all these paths?
I know. The reason is I didn't feel like I could put 2 movies from the same year in my.
Now he's coming up with all these weird criteria now that he's setting for himself.
Right? Yeah.
Again, I
said, here's what I have. What should I
Your
watch?
vibes, and he's like, oh well, on account of that, because we've got this genre too many times. Ooh.
I had 15 movies I was trying to squeeze into 4 placements, and so
That doesn't work.
I know.
Math's not mathing.
Why don't we just expand the Mount Rushmore to?
Let's put the Trump pick on there.
Oh boy! Oh, geez.
That's the bad film.
Yeah.
We thought it should actually be quite fun. Yeah, do 4 good ones and then
a bad one. I do think, to Amanda's point, though, The Nice Guys, I think he's funnier in that movie than Barbie. It's just that fewer people have seen him in The Nice Guys versus Barbie, and so, shout out to The Nice Guys. We're gonna again throw that one over by Blue Valentine and Lars probably, and they're all just gonna hang out over there. And we're building this huge pile.
It's ones that all of us need to watch.
Yes. All right, Heather, why don't you try to get us on the same page with a pick? Let's see what happens here.
Maybe.
I don't think so. Okay. Right. Oh, well, I'm just gonna go with the one of the first ones I thought of. We're talking about, can you watch a film and he's often the thing that you remember most, or he's the standout, or you don't even remember any of else what happens in the film other than what happens in the section that he's in. So we've got examples of this with Mahershala Ali with Green Book. Not Green Book, oh my God. Somebody else did this recently. The other one, Moonlight. Oh
I
my
even
God.
nodded because I was like, oh yeah, totally.
I mean, Moonlight. Oh my God. Teyana Taylor, one battle after another. These are performances that are only at the beginning and then they just disappear. But then you're like, whatever even happened in the rest of the film? So I am nominating, for that reason, Place Beyond the Pines, which was very much marketed, if I remember correctly, as a Ryan Gosling, Bradley Cooper led film, kind of almost like led, like both of them are the leads. And you go into this and spoiler, Ryan Gosling leaves like not even halfway through, if I remember correctly. Right?
About a third in.
Yeah. And he's gone. And you're like, I don't even remember the rest of the film. I literally do not remember the rest of what happens. I have no clue. Because what I remember from that film is the beautiful chemistry, and I don't even know why we didn't talk about this in our chemistry episode, chemistry thing. Him and Eva Mendes, obviously, it's the film they fell in love in, and it's like, oh, it's lovely. We love a nice, on the page transfer to real life, and yeah, that's all I remember from the film was two of them and their beautiful love story and how many tattoos he had. And I remember the people thinking that was real at the time. And yeah. And so somebody tells me what else happens in that film. I mean, I vaguely know, but like
it's not consequential at all.
It doesn't matter.
No.
Because it's his, to me, although he's literally just in a third of it, it is his film. And that is why I am nominating it. I don't necessarily think it'll be on any of your lists, but I have to put it in there because it's what I remember. And to me, that's also criteria.
So I recorded a couple of nights ago the 2012 Almanac, which will be coming out very, very soon. And Place Beyond the Pines was talked about a little bit. And I think that movie should have just been that storyline. And I would have been significantly happier. And I'll never forget, my brother went and saw the movie before I did in 2012. And he was like, what the hell just happened? I was wanting to watch this movie. And then it cuts to something different. And he was like, I do not care about the rest of this movie after Gosling leaves the picture. So,
and it's got Bradley Cooper. And I was such a massive, around that time, like Bradley Cooper was like, whole pass list, top of the list. And before he got too much done to his beautiful face. But I have no idea what he's doing in that film. I don't know. I don't know.
The whole movie kind of becomes cliched once Gosling leaves the picture and the plot sort of like gets all jumbled up together.
What plot? I don't know.
Well, yeah. Amanda, are you a fan of? Have you seen?
So if you're watching on video, when Heather started talking, I went through like all of the stages of grief just now because this was one of the ones that I started and didn't finish. And so I didn't even see him leave the picture.
Oh.
And so I was like, oh, okay, Ryan Gosling movie. Okay. And so, no, it's just fine. Like, I'll get back to it, whatever. But that shocked me because, yes, this is obviously marketed as his movie. I don't understand where he goes. What is going on? Because I was watching and I go, okay, this is a fine, like, in this genre of performance that he's doing, this is a fine one. This also kept getting mixed up in my head because I started all of these and it's like, okay, wait, which one is the one where he has a child? Which one is the one where he's dating someone that has a child? So I don't even think in my head I can place which one this was, except that he's on a bike. And he's in the woods.
As opposed to in a car, which was Drive.
Yeah. Yes, yeah. Also, I did not finish Drive. So I don't know. I guess this one wasn't my most memorable of these, but I guess if that's all it was of him, then oh well.
I would recommend watching it to the end of his time in the film, and then you'll be just fine. Because
pretending it's like a short film.
Yep. Just treat it like a short film. It was not on it was kind of lower down in like maybe, I don't know, 8 or 10 for me in that range. I have one final movie that was actually on my 4, and then so we have 4 movies over on the side and 2 locked in. I'm gonna throw out the movie though that I feel like the general population still holds a lot of like strength for this movie, and it's because I think if Gosling wanted to go in this direction with his career, he could have been probably a more bankable leading man, and it's the stoicness of Drive. I think he's sort of playing the archetype of like the Clint Eastwood man with no name kind of guy, you know, like there's very little dialogue, but you get this brooding sense of anger kind of bubbling underneath him the whole film, and even without saying a lot, he conveys a ton in that movie. And again, it's kind of like outside of the wheelhouse of everything else that he did post Drive. Like he could have just cranked out a bunch of Drives Jason Statham style and just made that his lane and done really well successfully. But I think he didn't, and I appreciate the Drive's kind of its own little thing in the Gosling world. And he doesn't really have another performance that's this, and I just think it stands out. The jacket stands out still, the scorpion and everything. And so I think when I think of Gosling and I close my eyes, I still think Drive is kind of right up there for me. So I'm going to say Drive. I would probably want to position pretty well. But Amanda, you didn't finish it all. So where do you stand on Drive?
I didn't finish it all. The problem was that I found it... It maybe because the point is that he's not saying a lot and he's not doing a lot. It's a very muted performance, which is maybe why I didn't feel the need to finish it. It wasn't grabbing me as I wanted it to, so eventually I will finish it, but I don't know. I don't know if I would have put it if I finished it.
Okay. Heather, what do you feel about Drive?
I watched Drive for the first time. What day is it today? Sunday. Friday. But voice of the general public, I am very open about these things at work. And I had a really, really, really boring like admin thing to get on with, which was really annoying. You know, we were all working on it as a team together. So everybody was kind of, you know, working on the same document, which was like 60 pages, just correcting formatting, you know, checking, you know, spellings were correct. It's just, you know, dull stuff. And I said, you know what? I'm going to whack on a Ryan Gosling film in the background. I said this quite openly to my teammates. I said, you know, this is what I'm doing. And they were like, okay, cool. Which one? And I said, Drive. And then my manager said, great film. So, and he does watch quite a lot of films, but not, you know, not everything. And the fact that he was able to identify this and say, actually, that's a really great film. Kind of, I have it as a kind of an honorable mention with another one that I watched for the first time last week, which I'm really but I also figured that Drive, I think if we're talking like it's a very different performance to what we've been talking about up to now, where he is very much talking a lot. So what you said, Amanda, it's a very silent role. It's a lot more violent than I expected. Oh my goodness. I kept occasionally like, you know, looking across and stuff like that, you know, and I was like, oh my God, somebody's just got something in their eye. Oh, okay. That was a really good time for somebody like me who has an eye problem to look. And yeah, I think it's very, very different to what we've seen in other ones that we've mentioned, where he's, as I say, especially with like, you know, Barbie, he's talking a lot. He's talking. He doesn't shut up, for God's sake. Or, you know, La La, and you know, where he's kind of like these, or other ones we've mentioned where he's kind of like, you know, smart ass, quick talker. This is much more internal. Yes, I can see also with the whole jacket thing that was going on, and as I say, the fact that this seems to be known by the general public, which I, you know, had no real idea about. I think I can see a case for putting this one on. I think I have it. Like I've just written scribbles here. I have it. It's like 6 or something, I think. So, yeah.
At the moment, I'm going to throw it over to the side as well. Because right now we have 5 movies hanging out over on the side. And we've got Barbie and La La Land comfortably situated.
I mean, I've got one more to mention.
Okay, but, so if we get to like 6 or 7, we could just throw a couple of votes out there and let people decide because we've given them a lot to chew on. So
the fact that we only have like literally 1 on at the moment. No, 2, sorry.
2, yeah.
La La Land. Yeah.
But this was what I was expecting from this, which is Gosling's stuff is just so all over the place that you can throw a lot at the wall with.
Which is not to say that Bale does not have a lot of other films that I could have made a case for.
True.
But I think with Bale, it's kind of easier because there really are these absolute massive ones in his filmography that kind of everybody knows and gets drawn to, or that he's won awards for. And I think that's the difference. I am surprised that we managed to get all 4 for Bale, but the 3 I did kind of expect, the first main 3. Anyway, yeah.
Well, so Heather, what's your final movie that you've got kind of written down?
The ultimate beginning of the whole sad Ryan Gosling thing, and I have Half Nelson. I watched that Thursday, before Drive. I did not love the film at all. It was a struggle to get through. But the reason it was, Amanda, you and I were talking earlier about motion sickness. This film did not make me feel well at all. There's like a jiggly handheld, like the way it's shot, and it's very grainy, and aesthetics are not nice at all. But I kind of think that's the point of the film and what it's trying to say. It's inner city. He has a drug problem. But he's a very dedicated teacher, which I really admire. You can tell he loves his job. He loves the kids. He's really good at what he's doing, but he has a very severe drug problem. I love the relationship between him and the main kind of kid in it, and how they're, trying to kind of help each other, and then the reconciliation at the end. It's kind of like almost like a happy end. What am I doing? It's not bleak. It's not bleak at the end. And I just thought he was really good. And this is kind of I think this is probably the first like real sad Ryan Gosling film, maybe, which led him on a path to doing a number of sad Ryan Gosling films with problems. So I really like this. I did not enjoy the film, but I think he is really good in it. Again, also quite a quiet performance compared to other things that we've seen and talked about. So I think he's very, very good at it. And it's his first Oscar nomination. Before, I think people knew who he was, really. It came out of nowhere. I remember at the time as well, was he thinking, what's this? Where's this come from? Who's he? Because I said I hadn't seen The Notebook. So I had no idea. Of course, obviously, the general public knew who he was because everybody else had seen The Notebook. But I was living in, bliss, ignorant bliss.
I think for me, I haven't checked my letterbox in a minute, but I think this is what I have ranked as my top performance of Gosling. Maybe just because it's like, to your point, it's like the first time he really exploded into this well of emotion and torment, and I feel like I have to kind of like push it up because people haven't seen it and watched it, and I do want people to like be aware of its existence because I do think it's really a really great performance in the Gosling canon. Amanda, what did you think of Half Nelson?
So this is what I put in as my bleak, because it was the only one of them that I finished.
Do we have consensus?
I think we can put it on there.
Okay, good. Because I finished it. I didn't feel too great about it, mostly because, yes, this was really difficult for me to watch, especially as someone that has worked in a lot of jobs that involved me being with children. The idea of any part of this plot freaked me out. So I was like, what do you do? Do not put the child in your car. Get the child out. Stop hanging out with the child with no other adults around. Like, it all was so, like, for me, it was giving me so much anxiety. But, I mean, he does great. I will be happy to never watch this again. But if I needed a fourth one to throw in, this is just what I got.
Okay, so I'm happily going to put that on the board. So
we have 3.
We've got Barbie, La La Land, and Half Nelson, all comfortable, and then we've got 5 more hanging out over on the side. Now, if we're taking this to an online vote, I can't do more than 4. So we have to figure out. We've got Lars and the Real Girl, Blue Valentine, The Nice Guys, Place Beyond the Pines, and Drive. Do any of those deserve to just get like bumped out of the way?
I was gonna say 2 of those are mine, so
okay,
we could always bump them.
I think that Amanda, do you not say you'd be quite okay with Blue Valentine? Valentine at least being on the list for the vote because you had Nelson as the other bleak one. I can't remember what we said.
No, I think I said Blue Valentine was fine because I watched part of it, and that part that I did watch was good. So
I would be inclined to either bump Nice Guys or Place Beyond the Pines.
Yeah. No, take out Place Beyond the Pines. It's
take out Place Beyond the Pines?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I think. I think because, I mean, I don't think Amanda hadn't finished.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't overly taken with it, and you already right off the bat said, you've got it like an 8 or 9. So to me, that says no.
Okay, well, then I think we've got a pretty good range for a vote for people, so they can go with Drive, Blue Valentine, Lars and the Real Girl, and The Nice Guys, which is a pretty eclectic group of films there.
It's going to be The Nice Guys because people have seen that and they like that, and it's funny and it's a comedy, and people like comedies except me. So
we may find out that Drive is indeed that.
It could be Drive.
That's true. A lot of people do like Drive.
Yeah. So. Okay.
Well, Lars and the Real Girl is like, I mean, people have seen that. Yes. I just didn't. Yeah. I just had to prioritize, and that was you told me to put that third when I said these are the ones that I've got. I said, tell me. I said, Andrew, please, Ryan Gosling, expert number 1. What do I need to get to? And I said, Half Nelson, Drive, Lars and the Real Girl, and Nice Guys. And you said prioritize Drive and Half Nelson. So that's what I did.
I did. Yes, and I stand by that. I think that. But now you have time, so go get to Lars and the Real Girl for sure.
Yeah. This is where I put the vote in first.
Get on my level.
Oh, I see. Watch things parallel. One on one screen and one on the other. Yeah.
Yeah. At 2.5 speed.
Watching them at the same
time. 2.5 speed, like you do it. Yes.
Yeah.
Just read the Wikipedia.
Okay, so
read the rest. Oh, this doesn't sound very good now.
So for people out there who want a quick recap, we've got 2006's Half Nelson. We have 2016's La La Land, and we have 2023's Barbie locked in. And then we will give you the power of the vote. So Drive, Blue Valentine, Lars and the Real Girl, The Nice Guys. Pick the movie there that you think should be on the Ryan Gosling Mount Rushmore. And that will conclude both of our Mount Rushmores for March. And then the three of us will be getting together again in April for a much different thing that could be equally as chaotic and crazy. And that is a worst music biopic draft around the upcoming Michael Jackson biopic, which I am not excited to watch, but I will do it.
So excited for the world has been waiting.
Yes. I have a lot of thoughts to unpack about that one when we get to that. Okay. All right. Well, that's going to do it for us. Once again, thanks for being here. We appreciate you sticking around. Amanda, Heather, I'm Andrew. We're the Revisionist Almanac, and we will see you next time.